Alright, well, it's astounding to me in this day and age that people still don't understand that the Federal Reserve and the government have nothing to do with capitalism. Now, as we all may know, the Federal Reserve yesterday pumped $1.5 trillion into the markets to try and swing things around. It seemed to work for about an hour and then it slumped back down, which is quite telling. But when they did this, people started talking about this and criticizing it, saying that this is the result of capitalism and that this is what you get with a capitalistic system. I think that these people are so naive and ignorant that they seem to believe that anything involving money or any medium of exchange or just any bank, anything involving these things is automatically looked at as greedy and evil and therefore it's capitalism. Now, I don't call them naive or ignorant as an insult. My intent is not just to hurt someone's feelings. I say naive and ignorant because I really believe that it is an accurate description of them. However, that doesn't mean they're stupid. They can certainly turn it around. I did. I used to be a 2004 Bush-supporting Republican that thought the economy was doing great in early 2000 when the housing market was doing great. If I could go back in time and call my 2007 self a naive and ignorant person, I would. I wouldn't be trying to hurt my own feelings, I'd just be trying to motivate myself to read a bit more. Now, when I say capitalism, I am talking about actual capitalism, the private ownership of the means of production. What that means, what that entails, is that it is private people or companies that own things, own factories, own engineering workstations, they own the machines that create things, they own the consumer goods, and that ownership can and does change hands all the time, so long as at least two parties voluntarily agree to the exchange. So the government and the Federal Reserve are antithetical to this. The Federal Reserve is absolutely not capitalistic in any sense, as it is a creature that could only be born by government. Any government, of course, is the collectivization, the centralization, the forced concentration of power, wealth, resources, and influence by the use or threat of force or violence. The Federal Reserve is not a product of market forces. It is not the product of private, voluntary exchange. It is not the result of free consumers demanding this service. It is the product of bankers who knew they would never see a central bank form if they remained as simply men who worked at private banks. They knew they had to go to the very thing that is completely antithetical to capitalism, the very thing that is the complete opposite of what you would consider private. In fact, it is consistently referred to as the public sector, not the private sector. That thing, of course, is the government. This is not capitalism at all. So when people hear about the Federal Reserve giving $1.5 trillion to Wall Street and they say, hey, look, there goes capitalism again, they need to be corrected. They need to understand that no one who truly advocates for free markets agrees with them giving out $1.5 trillion, let alone do they agree that the Fed should even exist in the first place. After all, it's been said, and this is easy to look up, plank number 5 in the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx is the claim that there must be a national bank with the centralization of credit into the hands of the state. Now, the only difference between what Marx advocated for and what we've got is that instead of bankers being handed this power by government, making them de facto an arm of the government, it should be the state itself with this power. So it should be Nancy Pelosi and Mitt Romney with this power instead of Jerome Powell. Both would end in disaster. So my last thing here is that we need to stop calling this crony capitalism. It's not. A far more appropriate name for this is socialism. It's at least highly socialistic. It's the forced collectivization of power through involuntary means. This is statism. This is, at best, a benevolent government creature that doesn't know what the hell it's doing and makes things worse than they otherwise would have been if they left it alone. It's not crony capitalism because there's nothing private about it. The rot enters the system through the public sector. The epicenter of the corruption comes from the parts of our economy that have a government-mandated, forceful collectivization of power, not capitalism. Thank you very much, though. Like and subscribe and share this video with those who need it. And take it easy.